we'd like to know your background and tell us a bit about your journey and your story and how it shaped you to becoming the man you are today, and what inspired you to get into the world of politics.
Wow, thank you for having me. Firstly, Spiela is a brilliant idea. When I heard about this and my team came to me, I was chomping at the bit to get involved. This is a great platform, and I wish you every luck into the future. And if I get elected, I guarantee you I come back. That's my first piece. I guarantee you that. Hold me to that. How did I get into politics? I hate politics. I've always hated politics, and I will continue to hate politics. But what I do like is people. So for 20 plus years, I was a youth worker. I started my own charity. I ran a 60 plus day charity. I had such a great time with the people in my community. I always wanted to represent people and get involved. And for me, it wasn't politics, it was people. I didn't even realize at the time that I was involved in politics. I was just trying to set up my job club. I was just trying to get young people away from our local crime lords. I was just trying to develop opportunities for people, because in that I saw an opportunity for me to develop as well, seeing that it was a win-win situation. What happened to me is I spoke at an event, because I think if I talk purely about getting into politics, you need to decide what you want to do in politics. And don't get me wrong, it's like being a teenager. That will change, but you do have to have a start point, because moving forward keeps you in the game. So I had spoken at an event. Some people from a think tank had approached me to come to a different event, and they're very sort of learned people, and they were, could you come and give us the raw, unfiltered experience of the street? We'd like our researchers to hear that. So I came and did that, and I think they slightly underestimated my ability. At the time, I could see their point, big academics, tracksuit, bandana, but people made assumptions about who I was. And I came to the event and I said I wanted to speak to them about how the European financial structure affected the advancement of my community. People were then scraping their jaws off the floor, because they thought I was going to come and say, "In it, man, it's tough on the street." Da, 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 da. And I just got a different angle on the world. But that experience, that process brought me into the arena of politics. So I was in the research, I was in the think tank world, and I was trying to change opinion and get research done that way. David Cameron then saw me speaking at an event, and he came to me, and I'll never forget this, and he said, exactly what we're looking for, why don't you become a Conservative candidate? And to put it into perspective, that morning I'd had a fight in the car park with a drug dealer. So then when David Cameron comes to you in the afternoon and says you should be a Tory candidate, I literally said to the man, "Don't call us, we'll call you." I thought it was hilarious. I did. And I went back and I told the young people I was working with, and they were absolutely furious. They were like, "You spent all this time, Shaun, preaching to us about identify opportunity, get hold of opportunity, and you've let this one go by." So I had a little think. I went back and I said to David Cameron, I need to think this through, because I needed to decide where my politics lies. Because then and now, the one thing I did know about politics is I don't like party politics. But for me as an individual, I did what I considered a study. I went to different events. Lib Dems in particular and Labour invited me to some things, and I decided for me, it'd be different for everybody else, that I was a Conservative. I then went back to David Cameron and said, "Okay, I'll take you up. What are you going to do for me?" And I think the important thing to understand is when to ask for something and when to offer something. And what I find is if you can find experienced people in any field, they are dying to give you something. So it's important to ask. One of the young people I used to work with, I gave him that piece of advice. He's a doctor now. He asked a doctor for something and they gave it to him, and boom, he went away and studied and did his career. So I got involved in politics by deliberately seeking out people who were interested in the topics I were, who were doing deeper studies, and then I had a chance encounter. I do a lot of bringing people into the party, and I give them the advice I give them. If you like the argy-bargy, the exchange of politics, become a council member. Because as a local councillor, you'll get plenty of that. You'll be face-to-face and in the chamber. And if you can become a cabinet member or the leader of your council, you can have real direct access and support people's lives, life-changing decisions you'll be making. I put it to you like this: the leader of the council has an enormous budget, your local MP does not. If you are into the philosophy, the democracy of it, the rule setting, the law of it, then you could probably aim at Parliament, because obviously that's where that conversation's had. but that's a much longer, much more disappointing, much more arduous journey. But if you have something else you're doing in the world, that might not bother you. I would always say never, ever, ever, ever give up your life for politics. Always have something else that you are doing beside the politics. You have to be pretty far into politics to make it your only career. That would be a risk, a serious risk. But for me, I got involved because I like people, I like the issues, I'm willing to learn. I don't think the right are right about everything, and I don't think the left are wrong about everything, which means it's very easy for me to have conversations that expand my horizons. I spend much of my time speaking to the Labour members of the London Assembly, which I'm elected to, because I learn more from people I disagree with than people that I agree with, if you see what I mean. And if that's your state of mind, politics is the game for you. The word of caution I would sound, too many people, to my opinion, in politics are partisan. And if you're partisan, then you're wasting your intellect and you're misleading the the public. And be wary of people who are trying to make you tribal, because that dumbs down politics. And to my mind, politics is the art of the possible, which means you must always be able to accept that the other side may be correct, or at least are looking in the right direction.